A recurring quote from Maddie, one of the main characters in Pierside by Emily Spahn, is a blunt dismissal of worry. I can take care of myself. But it's also more than that. It's an assurance of self-sufficiency, a well-worn line from a long-running friendship, a meek admittance of dependency, and the harsh weight of hidden secrets. In some ways, the book treats it as a question, not just about Maddie, but everyone else as well, and seeks to answer whether or not they can take care of themselves and what taking care of yourself really means as a person. Before we begin, a quick note. Emily Spahn is a personal friend of mine, and I was given an advanced review copy of Pierside to read for this video series. I was not offered any compensation for my review, and the opinions expressed are mine and mine alone, but I felt it was important to be as transparent as possible. With that out of the way, let's get to it. The 2016 urban fantasy novel Pierside by Emily Spahn is a story of darkness, hope, magic, and the scope and limits of power, both personal and supernatural. The novel follows Ezzy, a clinic worker with a mysterious past, and her best friend, clinic assistant, and love interest Maddie, as they find themselves drawn into a conflict involving the Elevati, a group of immortal humans with magical powers who were thought wiped out, a religious cult, and a colorful cast of characters, all revolving around an old collector's item that's one of the few things in the world with the power to kill an Elevatus. Pierside is Emily Spahn's debut novel. In addition to original fiction, she's a fairly prolific fanfiction writer and blogger, and a pretty great friend, so when she asked me to review her book, I jumped at the chance. As debut novels go, Pierside is an incredibly promising piece. While it has a complex plot full of twists and turns that takes the characters in unpredictable directions, it's those characters themselves who shine the brightest in the book. Ezzy is a closed-off and neurotic workaholic who just does not have the patience for half of the trouble she's thrown into. Maddie is brash, blunt, and a consummate shit-talker. Half of the fun of the book is reading Ezzy and Maddie, especially their interactions together, and the book wisely starts off on them and keeps them front and center for most of the length. But the rest of the cast also shines, with each main player doing their best to steal the show, though the only one that really manages it is the Angel, a cabaret singer who is used to getting what she wants. Spahn's command of character and voice is evident immediately, and it's easy to become engrossed in Pierside just following these characters. Even if the plot were lackluster, a cast this strong would likely be able to overcome it. Fortunately, they don't have to try, as the plot is another highlight of the book. Alliances form and fall apart while different characters come in and out of play. Structurally, Pierside plays out like a noir detective story, with many forces all in pursuit of a MacGuffin, and plays with the idiosyncrasies of the genre to good effect, keeping things unpredictable. Part of the plot's success is driven by the strength of the characters. Were they less defined, the story presented might have felt haphazard or contrived, but with everyone's motivations and personalities so clear, the twists don't strike a reader as random or unbelievable. A reader understands why everything is happening as it occurs, even if they were still left guessing right up until the moment it happened. It's an exciting read that keeps its audience on their toes. That said, the book stumbles in actually executing that plot. The prose is serviceable and sparse, which at times helps keep things moving along at a good clip, but at other times moves things along too quickly. Some of the more important reveals and twists don't feel very weighty in the text. Big character moments happen, and by all accounts should feel substantial, but are not given any time to breathe. It doesn't strain believability, but a reader could suffer whiplash. The impact of those moments gets blunted without any time for recovery. An important revelation falling flat is a common problem in fiction, and it's generally caused by the reader not being given a reason to care about what's happening. This can be as a result of a number of problems. If the characters are too nebulous or unlikable, the reader might fail to have an emotional connection to the events. Even if the characters are solid, if their motivations aren't clear, the events might feel unearned or arbitrary, which kills the immersion. Think of, for example, the maligned turning point in Dawn of Justice. The big reveal is that the characters' mothers share a first name, which is the justification for them teaming up. Even with both of them having strong personalities, that reason just rings hollow for most audience members thanks to how contrived it is. There's no reason for it to bring them together, so the whole turn feels off, and it's hard to care about the emotional impact at all. Pierside, fortunately, doesn't have any twists spoiled by either uninteresting characters or muddled motivations. The twists aren't boring or unintelligible. Really, they feel like they should work, but there are beats missing to them. Ever hear a joke that's funny on paper, but the person telling it just ruined it in their delivery? A moment in the book drops a bomb, and you want to react to it, but the text is already sped off towards the next thing. You don't have time to react to it, and seemingly the characters didn't need to react to it either, so you're left questioning whether it was really all that important in the first place. It's a joke with an abrupt punchline followed immediately by something else. This isn't a chronic problem in the book, as other reveals are given time to sink in. Overall, that's a good thing for the book's readability, but it makes it that much more jarring when a mishandled delivery does happen. The end result is a work that feels uneven at times, with portions that are too brief inside an otherwise well-paced book. Despite the occasional rough patches, Pierside never suffers too much, and its story and themes are left intact, which is fortunate because they're pretty gut-punching. For as fun as a lot of it is, and as enjoyable as the characters are, it's a serious book that doesn't shy away from some uncomfortable topics. It can be difficult and even genuinely upsetting to read at times. It doesn't revel in darkness, but it does go there, and where it goes isn't sugar-coated. If you're looking for something lighthearted and feel-good, you're not strictly in the wrong place, but you're going to have to deal with a lot of the opposite to get there. Mechanically, the prose is sparse and utilitarian. It works for the most part, as the majority of the book is paced well and progresses quickly, with no need to get mired in heavy description or be deeply evocative. Most of it is in service to the characters and their dialogue, letting them do the heavier lifting. It's only really a weakness when it gets in the way of impact, but overall the prose is an easy and pleasant read. To get a feel for it, let's look at a section in the first chapter. Here Maddie joins Ezzy, who is listening to the radio. Maddie listened for a moment. He's full of shit. Cleaning up the city by hiring more cops? The cops are the dirtiest folks out there. Don't worry, he's not going to hire more of them. That would cost money, and the city council would much rather spend that on themselves, as he said. Speaking of money, that's the real reason I'm home early. What do you say to me using the rest of this week's drinking money for gas, and we hop in the truck and head back home for a day or two? It's been ages since you had a day off. Someone could cover for you. Ezzy smiled at the idea of a few days' rest in Tan, the little town in the mountains where she had spent 10 years training as a clinic worker, and first met Maddie West. Ezzy loved it there almost as much as Maddie did, but now that she was a clinic worker, she went where the clinic order assigned her. That was why she lived here, hours away in the slums of Pierside. I'd love to, but really I shouldn't. We've been busy lately, and I'm sure the other clinics are the same. I doubt someone could be spared for something unnecessary. Who says it ain't necessary? You're pale as a fucking ghost, and you ain't had a day off in years. Sounds to me like you need it. Weeks. I had a day off 3 weeks ago. And I'm not that pale, the black just makes me look that way, she said, referring to her hair, black and cropped short, and her plain black dresses. Nah, you're that pale. Black just makes it creepy. This is very close to the start of the book, so there isn't much in the way of context to go off of. But there is already a feel for both Maddie and Ezzy's personalities and voices. Maddie's accent is a dead giveaway, but even without it, they are starting to come through immediately, and are settled into a comfortable rapport that's easy to relate to. And despite the minimal dialogue tagging or descriptive prose, who is speaking and their attitudes all comes across effortlessly. It's not beautiful prose, but it is unnoticeable. The book is easy to breeze through. At 65,000 words, there isn't a lot of room for bloat anyway, and it's easy to find yourself reading through a quarter or even half the book without really noticing. It might not be dense, but it is a heady experience, and as debut novels go, it's really strong. Spahn is an author to have on your radar, and I'm excited to see where she goes in the future. I'm going to give Pierside a worth reading recommendation. Some of the content is a little upsetting, and if you're squeamish, you might struggle with a few of the darker parts. But there's enough fun that I think most readers should make it through okay. I'd say it would be at home on a main bookshelf too. While some of the trappings are fantastical, and the structure owes a lot to noir detective fiction, the themes are grounded in reality and the core of the book matches. It's a stretch to really classify it as genre fiction. There's something to appeal to anyone. That wraps up my spoiler-free thoughts on Pierside. In 2 weeks, I'll be back with part 2 of this review, which will get into spoilers and discuss some of the themes in the book, including the role and limits of communication and power in personal agency. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. In the meantime, let me know what you thought of the book, or let me know what you've thought of other debut novels. I find debut novels interesting, especially in the context of the rest of an author's body of work, and it's often nice to watch a writer mature and grow over time. What about you? That's it for this one. TTFN.